Hey everybody, we wanted to come back and share some more spoken words, dreams, visions that Yahuah has given us about World War III and getting out of Babylon. Let's get right to it. Yahuah said, everyone is going to die. The nuclear war. Death by World War III. You want it, you got it. Death by world warfare. The other charge after each and every boom. People dying at every shockwave. Death. World War III, Hezbollah. You want it, you got it. How we're thinking right now is just another America on the rise. Many believe that the United States is undergoing a transformation that will make America great again. This couldn't be further from the truth. Yahuah said, civil war, escalated tensions. No one is going to be hiding. They are going to come right over. Military Sunni. Invasion. Jihad Shaheed. This refers to a person who is a martyr in connection with jihad, holy war. Yahuah said, living out their days as Shaheed lives. Send ants to kill us all. The ants are the people in mass numbers. Muslim bondsmen. They will come from distant, remote lands upon this land and do terrible things to the people of God. He will no longer be a protection. The mouth of Yahuah has spoken it.
In a three-part vision, I saw a funeral. Many people were gathered together. They were looking very despondent. Then I saw an empty wooden water trough with the word America written across it. And I saw an older woman holding a cardboard sign that said famine. She looked very weathered and her eyes were very sad. In another vision, I saw different scenes of war and death and all kinds of different war scenes. Yahuah said, our lives are going to change drastically. Isaiah 13 talks about the imminent day of Yahuah, terror and desolation upon the earth. We'll start in verse 6. Howl, for the day of Yahuah is near. It comes as destruction from El Shaddai. Therefore all hands go limp, every man's heart melts. And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows take hold of them. They are in pain as a woman in labor. They are amazed at one another, their faces aflame. See, the day of Yahuah is coming, fierce with wrath and heat of displeasure, to lay the earth waste and destroy its sinners from it. Yahuah said, these ladies were not expected to live that long, that their evening meal would come to this. Then I heard that song by California Dreamin' that goes, all the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. And I thought to myself, oh, would nuclear war make the sky turn gray? Yes. Then, in a vision, I saw an older woman say, I can't stand the thought of a nuclear war. And in another vision, I saw a map of the USA. The west side of the country had a large black circle inside of it, like it was blown up. And then Yahuah said, Caldera, the most successful strike in one day of history. And I knew he was referring to Yellowstone. Like 6 months later, I had a confirmation about this as well. Yahuah said trepidation, long-range trepidation, 2 large missiles, land and sea. Then, in a vision, I saw a map of the United States, and Yahuah said Yellowstone and New York, Poseidon. So first of all, I had to look up what trepidation meant, because I don't know that word. And trepidation is a feeling of fear about something that will happen. Then when I looked up what the Poseidon was, it's also known as Canyon or Status 6, and it's a nuclear-powered, nuclear-armed, unmanned underwater vehicle, which is developed by Russia. It is designed to deliver both conventional and nuclear payloads. Yahuah said, nuclear war, allow yourselves to be clothed in white, and none will be ashamed. And of course, Revelation 7 talks about the triumphal remnant of Yasharel, starting in verse 13. And one of the elders responded, saying to me, who are these dressed in white robes, and where did they come from? And I said to him, Master, you know. And he said to me, these are those coming out of the great distress, having washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Yahuah said, America is ignorant, stupid, and blind. Do not go chasing after her. That is the bottom line. Do not follow America, her customs, her ways. Her plagues shall come in one day. I sit as a queen, but she will be taken down. Americans wring their hands in distress. Look away from her, lest you be destroyed by any strategy war plans. Get ye out of Babylon, lest you be destroyed by her plagues. Revelation 18 talks about the divine sentence upon Babylon, starting in verse 4. And I heard another voice from the Shamayim saying, Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues. Because of her sins have piled up to reach the Shamayim, and Elohim has remembered her unrighteousnesses. Render to her as she indeed rendered, and repay her double, according to her works. In the cup which she has mixed, mix for her double. As much as she esteemed herself and lived luxuriously, so much torture and grief give to her, because in her heart she says, I sit as a queen, and I am not a widow, and I do not see mourning at all. Because of this, her plague shall come in one day, death and mourning and scarcity of food, and she shall be burned up with fire, because Yahuah Elohim, who judges her, is mighty.
Yahuah said the final twist is Americans escaping Babylon. In Jeremiah 51, it's the call to separate before the northern destroyer arrives. Verse 45 says, Come out of her midst, my people, and let everyone deliver his being from the burning displeasure of Yahuah. Yahuah said a commerce big event, USA the Great no more. Revelation 18, the merchants weep over Babylon, mourning the loss of her trade. Starting at verse 14, and the fruit that your being longed for has gone from you, and all your riches and splendor are lost to you, and you shall find them no more, not at all. The merchants of these, those who become rich by her, shall stand at a distance for fear of her torture, weeping and mourning, and saying, Woe, woe, the great city that was dressed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour such great riches was laid waste, and every shipmaster and every passenger and sailor, and as many as worked the sea, stood at a distance and cried out when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What is like this great city? And they threw dust on their heads and cried out, weeping and mourning, and saying, Woe, woe, the great city, in which all who had ships on the sea became rich by her wealth, for in 1 hour she was laid waste.
I had a dream that we went back to America, and I was telling everyone I came across, I was talking to them, I was telling them that we had left for the winter, but we were leaving again because America is going to be destroyed, and people were laughing at me. Yahuah said ICBMs, which ICBM stands for Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. It's a type of missile with a range of over 3,400 miles, primarily designed to deliver nuclear warheads. I had no idea what an ICBM was. Yahuah said tomahawk, weapons of war, mass destruction, a closing to buying and selling. That's Revelation 13, the mandate, total control. And he causes all, both small and great, and rich and poor, free and slave, to be given a mark upon their right hand or upon their foreheads, and that no one should be able to buy or sell except he that has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And then Revelation 14 goes on to the warning. And a third messenger followed them, saying with a loud voice, If anyone worships the beast and his image and receives his mark upon his forehead or upon his hand, he also shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahuah, which is poured out undiluted into the cup of his wrath. And he shall be tortured with fire and sulfur before the Kodesh messengers and before the Lamb. Yahuah said, Once this is over, it's over, because this is the year of recompense, the time of Jacob's trouble, Israel. The end of all things is at hand. And this brings us right to Joel 2, turning to Yahuah. And Yahuah shall give forth his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For mighty is the doer of his word. For the day of Yahuah is great and very awesome, and who can bear it? Yet even now, declares Yahuah, turn to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning, and tear your heart and not your garments, and turn back to Yahuah your Elohim, for he shows favor and is compassionate, patient, and of great kindness, and he shall relent concerning the evil. Who knows, he might turn and relent, and leave a barakah behind him, a grain offering and a drink offering for Yahuah your Elohim. Barak Yahuah. We are not sharing these messages to fearmonger or to scare anyone, but rather to urge you to repent and seek Yahuah while there is still time, as no one is promised tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you soon. Goodbye.